She told me, "I'm staying at a friend's. I saw her walk into a hotel with him holding hands." That one sentence is enough to tell you everything you need to know about betrayal, isn't it? A single lie spoken so casually, tossed at me like pocket change, when the truth was already walking across the pavement in heels and perfume, her fingers laced with his like it was the most natural thing in the world. I can't forget the way my chest tightened when I saw it with my own eyes. I wasn't supposed to be there. I wasn't supposed to know. She thought her words would buy her cover, but something told me to drive that way. Call it instinct. Call it God. Call it years of buried doubt that finally bubbled over. Whatever it was, it put me right there on that street, engine idling, headlights dim, as she reached for the glass doors of a hotel she had no business walking into. She said she was staying with her friend Laura. I even asked twice to be sure. "You're staying at Laura's?" I remember the way she nodded, almost impatient, as if repeating herself was beneath her. "Yes," she said, slipping her phone into her bag, giving me that practiced smile. "We're having a girls' night. Don't wait up." I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to believe her so badly. Because belief is easier. Belief is comfortable. Belief keeps the world from shattering. But something about the way she looked at me that night, it wasn't just tiredness, it wasn't just distraction, it was calculation. She was telling me what I wanted to hear, not what was true. So when she left, I waited 10 minutes, grabbed my keys, and followed the route she always took to Laura's. Only she never made it that far. She pulled off 2 exits earlier, her blinker flashing like a signal, and my stomach dropped. I slowed, hung back, 2 cars behind. The city lights stretched across the windshield, neon signs, blurring as I focused on her taillights. She turned again, and that's when I saw it. The hotel, not a cheap roadside inn, not some anonymous place. No, this was one of those mid-tier city hotels, classy enough to blend business with pleasure, discreet enough not to ask questions. I pulled to the side of the street, my hands gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles burned. And then he appeared, a man stepping out of another car, his stride confident, his posture relaxed, like he'd done this before. He walked right up to her, didn't hesitate for a second, and she didn't hesitate either. She smiled, the kind of smile I hadn't seen in months, and slipped her hand into his. Together they walked toward the doors. Do you know what it feels like to watch the person you share a bed with smile like that at someone else? To see their fingers intertwine with another's, while you sit in the shadows, silent, invisible. It's like your insides collapse. Your mind screams, "This isn't real, this isn't happening," but your eyes don't lie. You see the truth, raw and unfiltered, and you can't put it back. I didn't confront them. I didn't honk, didn't roll down the window, didn't march into the lobby, demanding answers. No, I sat there, engine running, watching as the doors closed behind them, leaving me alone with the weight of what I'd seen. My pulse was steady, almost unnaturally so. The anger was there, sure, boiling under the surface, but stronger than the anger was something colder, clarity. The lie was no longer hypothetical. It wasn't suspicion. It wasn't doubt. It was fact. She told me she was staying at a friend's. Instead, she was walking into a hotel with him. When I drove home, the house felt different. The walls looked foreign. The couch where she usually sat felt like it belonged to strangers. Even the photos on the shelves mocked me. Her smile pressed against mine, frozen in happier times. Now nothing more than props in a play that had already ended. I poured myself a drink, sat in the dark, and thought. My first instinct was to confront her, as soon as she walked through the door the next morning, to shove the truth into her face until she cracked. But then another thought came. What if she denies it? What if she twists it? Cheaters are good at rewriting stories. They cry, they beg, they manipulate until the truth feels uncertain, until you start to question your own eyes. I wasn't going to let her do that to me. Not this time. So I decided to wait, to gather, to build. If I was going to burn her lies to the ground, I needed to do it with evidence she couldn't wriggle out of. The next morning she walked in humming, like she'd just had a spa day, not a night in another man's arms. Her makeup was faintly smudged, her hair tied back in a messy bun, her smile casual. "Morning," she said, kissing me lightly on the cheek, as if she hadn't kissed someone else hours before. Laura says hi. That lie, so brazen, so effortless, lit a fire inside me. But I smiled back, hiding my rage behind calm. "Tell her I said hi," I replied, my voice steady. She laughed, poured herself coffee, and carried on with her morning routine, like she wasn't walking through a minefield. I spent the next weeks playing my role: husband, listener, companion. All the while I became something else behind the scenes. A collector. I went through her phone when she showered, her laptop when she left it open. She was careful, but not careful enough. I found texts under fake names, messages sent late at night, work emails that read more like love letters. I found hotel bookings that matched her so-called girls' nights, receipts for dinners in places she'd never taken me. Each discovery didn't just hurt, it hardened me. My grief became fuel. My silence became strategy. She thought she was clever, thought her lies were airtight, but every time she repeated one, she tightened the noose she didn't even know existed. The hardest part wasn't finding the truth. It was living beside her while knowing it, sitting across from her at dinner, listening to her laugh, feeling her hand brush mine, all while my mind whispered, "This is the same hand she laced with his." It was suffocating, but I endured it, because I knew patience would give me the ending I deserved. The turning point came when she invited me to a family gathering, a cousin's engagement party. "It'll be nice," she said, her eyes shining. "Everyone together. We haven't done that in a while." And in that moment, I realized fate had handed me the stage. She thought she was setting up a celebration. What she didn't know was that she'd just given me the perfect audience, because if she thought she could lie to my face and walk hand in hand into hotels behind my back, she was about to learn what it felt like when the truth walked her into the spotlight. When the night of my cousin's engagement party arrived, the air felt different. Not just heavy with the anticipation of family laughter and champagne, but heavy with the weight of what I was carrying in my pocket: an envelope, thick with papers and photographs, proof that every lie she'd ever told me wasn't just in my head. It was real, undeniable, and about to be unveiled. She got ready in front of the mirror, humming to herself, as she fastened earrings and dabbed perfume along her neck. I watched her from the doorway. To anyone else she looked stunning. Hair pinned perfectly, dress hugging her frame, a smile flickering at her reflection. To me, she looked like a stranger rehearsing for a part she had no idea was about to end. "Do I look okay?" she asked, turning to me with that sweet tone I'd once fallen for. "You look perfect," I replied, and I meant it in the cruelest way possible. She looked perfect for what was coming. The drive to the party was quiet. She scrolled on her phone, texting probably him. I didn't ask. I didn't need to. My hands stayed steady on the wheel, my mind running over the sequence of what I would do. Timing mattered. The stage mattered. Exposure works best when the lights are brightest. The hall was filled with family and friends, music pulsing low, glasses clinking, bursts of laughter echoing off the walls. My cousin glowed with his fiancée beside him, everyone congratulating them, snapping photos, filling the space with joy. It should have been a night about them, and part of me felt guilty for what I was about to do. But then I remembered the night she told me she was staying with a friend, only for me to see her walking into that hotel, hand in hand with him. I remembered the way she kissed me goodbye that night, lying straight into my face, and I knew this wasn't my sin. It was hers. She floated through the room greeting relatives, smiling, playing the role of the supportive wife. I stuck close at first, blending into the background, shaking hands, hugging uncles, listening to stories. The envelope in my jacket felt like it was burning a hole through the fabric. Every time I looked at her, it was all I could feel, the weight of truth, pressing against my ribs, begging to be released. Dinner was served. Laughter, louder, wine poured generously. She leaned close to me, brushing my arm, whispering, "This feels nice, doesn't it?" Everyone together. Her voice dripped with ease, as if she hadn't been slipping away to hotels, while I sat alone at home. I turned to her, smiled faintly, and nodded. "It does. It really does." When dessert plates were cleared, and my uncle clinked his glass, asking for a toast to the engaged couple, I knew it was time. The room hushed, everyone raising glasses, waiting for words about love, commitment, the beauty of two people promising their lives together. I stood. My chair scraped against the floor, the sound sharp, cutting through the hum. Heads turned. She looked up at me, her eyes wide, curious but calm. She thought I was about to speak about love, Maybe even about how lucky I was to have her. I raised my glass to my cousin and his fiancée. I began, my voice strong, steady. May your lives be filled with honesty, loyalty, and trust. I let the words hang, heavy, deliberate. Some smiled, nodding. She beamed at me, oblivious. And since we're all here, I continued, sliding the envelope onto the table and opening it slowly, I think it's the perfect time to talk about what happens when honesty, loyalty, and trust are broken. The air shifted instantly. Confusion rippled across the room. She froze, her hand tightening around her glass. I pulled out the first photo, a shot of her and him, their hands clasped, walking into the hotel. Gasps echoed as I held it high enough for everyone to see. This, I said, my tone calm, cold, is where my wife was the night she told me. She was staying at a friend's, not at Laura's, not at any friend's, at a hotel, with him. A wave of murmurs crashed across the hall. My aunt covered her mouth. My cousin's fiancé whispered, "Oh my God!" My father's eyes darkened with fury. I laid out more photos, screenshots of messages, receipts from dinners, booking confirmations, each page another nail in the coffin of her performance. She didn't just lie once, I continued. She lied for months. She said she was working late, meeting friends, running errands. But these, I tapped the papers, these tell the real story. Every time she said she was mine, she was his. She shot to her feet, her voice breaking. "Please, stop. Not here. Not like this. Not like this," I snapped, my voice rising. "You walked into a hotel with him like it was nothing. You lied to my face in my own home while I trusted you. You broke our vows, our life, in secret. So no, you don't get to dictate how the truth comes out. Not anymore." The silence that followed was deafening. She stood there, trembling, tears streaming down her cheeks. Relatives stared at her, some in shock, some in disgust. And him, he wasn't there, of course. He never was when the consequences showed up. He got the gifts, the lies, the nights in hotels, but she was the one left standing in the ruins. I gathered the papers, slid them back into the envelope, and looked her in the eye. "You wanted to stay at a friend's, now you can, because you're not staying here anymore." With that, I set down my glass, turned and walked out. Behind me, voices erupted, questions, whispers, the crack of her sobs. But I didn't stop. I stepped into the night air, the cool breeze hitting my face like freedom. For the first time in months, my shoulders felt lighter. The truth was no longer mine alone to carry. It belonged to everyone now. In the days that followed, everything unraveled. Her calls came in floods, voicemails filled with begging, apologies, pleas to talk. I didn't answer. She showed up at the house once, pounding on the door, but I let her stand there in the rain until she gave up. The family cut ties with her. Friends whispered about her. His wife, yes, he had one, filed for divorce within weeks. His reputation shattered, his job at risk, his perfect little life scorched by the fire they thought they'd hidden. And me, I started over. It wasn't easy. Some nights were quiet, in ways that hurt, silence echoing through rooms that used to be filled with her voice. But the silence also healed, because silence meant honesty. Silence meant no more lies. Sometimes, late at night, I still see it, the way she walked into that hotel, hand in hand, smiling like she'd never smiled for me. But then I remind myself, I saw it, I knew it, and I had the strength to show it. She thought she could whisper lies into the dark and never be heard. But the truth always finds its voice, and I made sure hers was heard by everyone.